Welcome to Ngosti Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Find your own voice, led from within. Welcome to Ngosti Talk Shows, everyone. Over to you, Dr. Biget. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Numsa, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are located. It's afternoon in the UK at this moment, and it's bright and early in the morning here in the Los Angeles area. I have questions for you. Do you perhaps notice yourself or somebody else is being more irritable or hesitant or just moody since the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown started? What do you think that is? And what do you think is the impact of your mood, your mental state, mental health state, your emotional state to you as not just in your life day to day, but in particular in your economy? So in other words, in your income. I'm Dr. Barjit Tan. I'm a grief transformation specialist and a life success coach, author, and global speaker, and the founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity. I am here we're here today to share with you what's the impact of these changes that we've been experiencing, and even more importantly, what is it that you might be able to easily do to change this to the way that it's favorable to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. So our topic today is mental health is one of the biggest pandemic issues we are facing in 2021. Dr. Biget, you mentioned basically before we came live that people basically, when it comes to mental health, it's like grieving, but we don't realize. Would you like to explain your vision to our audience, please? Because we had mental health problems before, but mostly adults. I think with the lockdown and everything, I think it has gone up. The numbers, it has gone up. People have struggled a lot because we are not used to being told what to do, what we can't do. We used to freedom, going out, doing the things that we love. And the elders, they are used to get up in the morning, those who have retired, and go for a cup of coffee and do whatever they wanted to do. But at that moment, they were not able to do it. And some countries, they're still basically facing those kind of issues. Would you like to take the stage, please?
Thank you, Numsa. Yeah, you mentioned early, at the beginning when you of what you say, it's about grief. See, a lot of people does not realize that there are more than 40 causes of grief, and grief is not only from death, divorce, or dire diagnosis. Grief, by definition, is the unsettling feelings caused by a change in your familiar routine. Well, none of us familiar with the pandemic, I sure hope. And so each and every one of us, you, myself, and everyone we know, has been going through the unsettling feelings that caused by a loss in this case, a loss, like you said, a loss of freedom, a loss of familiarity. And so naturally, when we are grieving, we're not in a mentally whole state. Not that there is, don't take me this wrong. Some people think that that means there is something wrong with you. No, that does not mean there is something wrong with you, but there are things impacting you and making you feel that things are abnormal, which they are. So it's actually basically everybody has been grieving even more since the coronavirus pandemic. And most people don't know is even before the coronavirus pandemic, we already have a pandemic, which is a grief pandemic. But the coronavirus make it even more. But even before, the reasons grief has already costing the workplace $117 billion every year. This was in 2017 study in the US. It's because there's already a pandemic that get escalated with the coronavirus.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. I saw somewhere it says, I think 70, it says around 3/4 reported at least partial disruptions to school and workplace mental health services, 78% and 75% respectively. So basically, the numbers went up with during the pandemic, and it's costing basically. It's like myself, for my own opinion, basically, I was working during the pandemic, but because there were things that I was used to. What is the noise? Why is there so much noise? Do you hear the feedback?
No.
Or is it just me? Okay, maybe it's just me. So, and there were things that I'm used to it. Like I'm used to going out, meeting my clients. We have a meal, going for coffee with my friends, or sometimes I go to work, go to the office. On my way back, I'm near the town. On my way back, I just sit down or meet somebody for a cup of coffee. And those things, the small things that we take for granted, they feel that they were stripped away from me. And at first I was fine because I was going to work, but I came to a point where I was like, I think I had enough of this now. It's like I wanted to go back to some normality. And the feeling was unsettling because I felt like I have to get up in the morning, have a shower, then I go to the office, and then I come back, go to work, I come back. And that was it. That was the life. And then I hang out with my crew in the house. So I was like, the feeling was unsettling because you want to meet people, you want to go out. We are not designed to be locked in, but at the same time, I had to look at my family and say, I'm actually grateful that I actually have my family with me. Some people, they are grieving for mental health problems, and they are grieving for losing their loved ones at the same time. So basically, we were hit. Some families were hit twice. And that kept me basically going to actually say, okay, I'm gonna grieve, I'm gonna work on my personal development and just hang in there and basically ask God to give me strength and give me hope when life it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. And I had to remove the blame as well, because we intended to blame each other when things go wrong. So I'm gonna hand it over to you, Dr. Bigot.
Yeah, it's definitely is one of those situations that we all go through, and some people, like you said, are still not able to do their work fully. And even being a doctor, I'm an essential, considered essential worker. And it's one of those things that people who are required to stay at homes are not thrilled about it and grieving. And then, knowing the nature of the virus, the essential worker who goes to work also not thrilled and grieving because they are seeing it as they are risking their life and they are risking their family. And the hospital I was at lost a lot of doctor, not physically, but many doctors actually said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this, and I will cut my hours, cut my day, and that's caused a lot of disturbance in being able to serve the people, the patients well. But aside from that, and that's just a different way of people grieving. But you also touch a very important point there, the blaming. A lot of time when we have things going on, it's very easy. It's human nature to want to say, oh, you know what, this is happening. So this pandemic caused me to be unhappy and irritable and moody and snap at people for no reason. And then, well, this is happening. So no wonder I don't have the income that I want because guess what? It's a pandemic. There is a lockdown. Well, yes, there is a pandemic. There is a circumstance. Life always about circumstance. Life full of circumstance. And at the same time, though, it is one of those things that it is completely up to you what you want to do with the circumstance. Do you want to, now that you are aware that you are grieving because you have experienced unsettling change, are you going to just stay in there? Or are you going to learn to be able to take yourself, to be more graceful about it, lessen your grief, and perhaps improve your results if that's what you want to do. With grief recovery specialists, we have this what we call the 1% responsibility. Everything in the world could be happening, and at the same time, it's up to you. It's you have a 1% responsibility to decide and do with it. What is it that you decide you're gonna do? It's your responsibility, just like each and every one of us, to your own life.
Much, Dr. Biget. I like it when you say it is our responsibilities to actually decide what we want to do with our own lives, because at the end of the day, we have a choice, and we have, when we are going through difficult times, no matter how much support we have, that person is still have a choice to decide whether they're gonna get help or they're not gonna get help. um, it is very, very important to take good care of your physical and mental health. If you know that you're not coping, or if you know that you are going through tough times, because during tough times, the diet can change. You can have like diet can change and you don't want to eat, or you can start withdrawing to people. Your immune system will change, and if you, those people who drinks like alcohol consumptions will get worse. And you just have to make a choice to avoid all these things. If some people smoke and everything, but during 2020 and 2021, some marriages go stronger, some marriages got destroyed, because some people chose to look at things in different ways. Like I used to hear my friends, like when they talk, they're like, I'm not used to this, my husband being at home all the time. But if you look at it like and being grateful instead of because like sometimes like if we have everything in life, sometimes we can just ignore the important things. So I was like to my friends, why don't you look at it as, okay, this is pandemic, people are losing families every single day. Because when you watch the news and you're being told 500 people have died per day, and then you are complaining that your wife or your husband is stuck in the house with you, it does, to me it makes sense to that person, but to me it doesn't make sense, because I will be on my knees and asking God. Honestly, I basically forgot about what my children, I basically removed myself for being what I want and basically desiring to actually live and saying, God, when I go out, please, if I catch the coronavirus, let me be healed. Those were actually my cry and my desires. That their father was in the house, I didn't see that as important. And even if things were to happen, I wouldn't see that as important to me. We have to, sometimes you have to look at things in a different perspective. But unfortunately, some people don't have those. They don't have that mindset. So, what would you say to somebody if we were to go back to lockdown right now, Dr. Biget? What advice would you give somebody for them to hold on? Because marriages basically, the abuse went up. Men were abusing their spouse and women were abusing, because it's not just men, the abuse is not just men, women as well, they do abuse their spouse as well. So when I was listening the news, the abuse went up. So what advice would you give to somebody when we are going through those challenges again, like what we went through? Because it wasn't like a game, it was reality. The reality was real. So what advice can you give somebody when they, if we have to go through lockdown, how can they save their families, their, basically to be united and be one instead of the families being split apart, or abuse those who end up abusing their spouse?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what advice I would give? I would help them recognize that they, as well as their loved ones, are grieving, which is back to the grief is the unsettling feelings caused by a change in your familiar routine. And having an awareness is very important, because when you realize that you are grieving and the other person also grieving, and the other part of that advice is that you are grieving, and to remember what Dr. Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, who went through Holocaust survival experience, says, an abnormal behavior in an abnormal circumstance is normal behavior. So your abnormal behavior, or you noticing your spouse, your family member behaving abnormally in normal circumstance is normal, but it does not mean it's productive. It's a difference between normal and productive. And so if you noticing that you're snapping at people and become highly irritable, first know that that's most likely because you are grieving. Second, know that it is normal for you to be doing that. So don't fear, don't start berating yourself or something like that. And then know that yes, it could be normal, so to say, psychologically, but it does not mean it's productive. And then back to that choice, Numsa, that 1% responsibility. Do you want to learn to see things differently? And even before you are able to see things, let's say you just become irritable, and because your significant other do certain things because he or she is home all the time. Well, understandable. I mean, you are human. At some point, you might say, "I'm done with this person. Keep doing this thing over and over while at home." Usually, they are away from house for about 10 hours a day, and now who knows? This is something I never seen. This is why the same thing. I mean, whether it's the pandemic or this happened a lot with people who went through retirement. Carmen, you think it's something to celebrate. A lot of the gray divorce later in age is actually secondary to the changes and the grief people experience from retirement. And so, yes, it's normal for you to feel abnormal and to behave abnormally, and the same thing with your family member. And it's at the end of the day, it's a choice for you Do you want to actually stuck with where it is, or do you want to allow help, which is what grief transformation is all about? Do you want to allow help such that you can have this circumstance and you can use it to benefit you? It's sort of like you're now, we all of us has ran into a big boulder, a big stone right on our path going to where we would love to be in life. Well, it's up to you if you want to be able to be crushed by the stone, or to stay stuck behind the stone now that suddenly drop in front of you, or ask for help from people who are an expert, whether myself or others, such that it's okay. So now what can you do? Is there a way to break the stone into little stones and push them aside so you can keep going? Or maybe we'll teach you how to fly over it or walk around it. But there are people who thrive and succeed greatly during the pandemic, and triple, quadruple their income while being able to do it from home because they were home all the time. And there were people who doesn't make it. So what do you choose? And then what can you do if you choose whatever your choice is? What can you do to help you get there? If you don't know how to reach your destinations, you need to ask for help.
True. I'm laughing like with the retirement that it happens when a couples retires and they start annoying each other. I've never looked at it that way, but I'm starting to. I used to see before I split up with my ex, because his parents, they had a big house, so their dad will be staying in the other living room, and the mom will be staying in the other living room. And in that way, they stay in peace. No one is. They watch their own channels, or if they are watching something they love, then they are together. So then that separate and them annoying each other.
It's interesting that you say that. Yes, a lot of people do that. They're like, okay, you go to work, I go to work, and this and that, and then they basically come back and then they have their own things. But yeah, and well, with retirement people, and this is something I actually specifically discuss in my book Seeking Peace here, about multiple about all the camouflage of grief and how retirement, with retirement a lot of time people also has actually loss of many people experience a feeling of a loss of identity. Most people identify after doing the same thing, the working in the same field, let's say 30, 40, 50 years. You will see yourself as, okay, I'm Mr. Smith, who is, and then your job title. I am Miss Jane, who is, and then now it's suddenly going poof, you retire, or you got released by your company because of the pandemic. And not only the change that you no longer being able to go out, like you said, the loss of freedom and so forth. Now you're experiencing loss of identity, and it come in a number of ways. The book shares about a couple who worked with me, and they were on the verge of divorce, even though they, before retirement, this was before the pandemic, before retirement, they have the best marriage. And thankfully, of course, we saved their marriage, and and even better because of that, one of their dream is to travel to the Trans-Siberians and all this, what I personally call the path less beaten. And they were just finished doing their work travel right before the pandemic. Imagine if they had waited. They probably first has gotten into divorce, and then the second, even if they have waited, instead of the lady came to me to help her, they wouldn't be able to do that anymore. They are elderly, and right now it's quite challenging to be traveling to work. It's always back the questions to that 1% responsibility. What what are you going to choose and for yourself, and then what kind of help are you going to allow? Are you going to at least be go get a book that can show you how to navigate this, such as Seeking Peace, and there are other books besides Seeking Peace, my book, or get a coach, or you're going to listen to this as an entertainment during your lunch time and move on and doing just the exact same thing.
So true, Dr. Biget. Sometimes, when you're going through challenging times, you have to find a way to actually uh, um, keep moving with life, because life is all about having hope, it's all about having faith, and also using your beliefs as well, and doing the things that you love. It's like during the pandemic, I basically focused on the things. I was like, okay, this is pandemic, we can't do this, we can't do this, but I can get creative, I can do some research with the things, because there are so many things that I couldn't do. I'll go and meet my clients, and sometimes I only have time to do some research for other things. So, and you can learn new things sometimes, like when you are going through like mental health problems, music is good for actually for your brain. For those who basically, if you start feeling like you're getting depressed, it is good to learn an instrument, and just having that instrument playing in your head, it switches your brain, because when you're worried about something, you are producing chemicals to your brain. So sometimes it's nice to meditate, or just get you can learn. Nowadays we are so blessed because we have internet. Through YouTube you can learn so many things. You can learn an instrument through YouTube basically, and it is actually amazing the things that you can do. And for those who are like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, just get creative when you are going through something. If you focus on what you are going through, like before we went live, I was telling you that I'm trying to move out of the house. um, People seems to be changing their mind when everything falls through, is about to fall through. People changes their mind with whatever, but I'm keeping it cool because I don't know why I'm going through this process. So I'm like, I'm keeping it through. I'm keeping it basically cool, staying basically calming myself, because I was hoping that we're gonna move out this week. And I got an email this morning, the woman saying, no, so unfortunately, they've changed their mind and you won't be moving. I was like, okay. And and then I was like to myself, I'm not going to get upset because I don't know why God is putting me through this, or I don't know why am I going through this. And and I was like, okay, whatever happens, but we're gonna move out anyway. But whatever happens, we just have to keep it cool. But it shows that because I believe in God myself, it shows that my way actually sometimes it doesn't work. How I can plan life, it doesn't work. If it doesn't work and God says, this is not your house, you meant to go to this house. So I just have to keep it cool. But if it was before 10 years ago, I'll be saying, why do I have to go through this? Why me? Why some people, they just plan things and go smooth? But now I come to understand that there are trials and tribulations in life, and the path that you basically planned to pave on, it might change. So you just have to tweak things around. You just have to keep it cool, and basically, and move on with your life, and find some people that can actually support you, and talk about your worries to other people, and keep your regular routine, and set goals, keep setting your goals, and keep going with life. Over to you, Dr. Biggett. I'm just keep going on.
Yeah, it is very true that there were things going on. But I want to mention, as you mentioned earlier, find something to do that will help you. And some people find it to be exercising. Some people doing different things, and music definitely help. And thank you for mentioning that. It's remind me that yes, music definitely very helpful. Music or some form of creativity allow you to express your feelings. And music, we know already that it's been shown many times that music actually, if you ever experience this where you're listening to a music with a very strong tempo, so it's like boom 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 or something like that, you can almost feel that your heart kind of working differently, vibrating differently. And so when that happens, it's actually allow you to release or to move what you're feeling, and that's why music's very helpful. And that's remind me that actually this weekend, this Saturday, this very Saturday at 9 a.m. where I am, Pacific time, so that you guys are 8 hours ahead. So 5 p.m. UK time, at 5 p.m. UK time, I'm doing this Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief. And what it is we use this music and use this freestyle dancing. So even if you don't know how to dance, it doesn't really matter. You can just move the way that your heart tells you to do. And we use music and freestyle dancing. And of course, coaching in a different manner than this with me, and it will be very helpful actually to release things that got stuck in you. We know that when you hear something or when you read something, it is something that, let's say you're listening to this or you're reading something, it's only get to your mind and you're going to forget it within a matter of hours, at the most days. You try to recall conversations in detail or this in a week from now, you study shows you will forget 90% of this easily. But when it's an impactful experience, it got into your cells and then stay in there unless you strategically kind of move your cells in certain manner. And music with movement and coaching is very powerful, and so it's a community event actually. So it is on donation base, and if whether you are able to donate, you're not able to donate, it's something that if you find yourself been having challenge recently, come check it out. It's online, thankfully. Like everything else, we adapted to online, and then it's something that just in an hour you will feel a lot more at ease, and you will feel a lot more at peace, regardless of what's going on in your life, because it's what it's designed for. And then not only you will feel a lot more at ease and at peace, now you opened up yourself to open up your energy, and that will actually energize you in a way that it's not going to make you hyper, but it will make you feel better. And when you feel better, you'll be able to see solutions to your problem. So I'll post the link to the event if you like for me to on the site, or I'll send it to you, Numsa, and then that way our audience can benefit from it easily right from your living room or your bedroom, wherever you are. You don't need a lot of space. You need to have a space where you can be standing and turn around. So,
I think if you put the link at the bottom of the video, that would be really lovely. And when is it? Is it today or tomorrow?
it's this Saturday.
Saturday, what time?
Saturday, 9 o'clock Los Angeles time. It is 5 p.m.
Is
UK
it
time.
5 p.m. 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.?
I believe 5 p.m. because right now you are one something, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 5
5.
p.m. Okay. It sounds good. I'll check it out. Please post the link at the bottom of the video. that would be really lovely. Check it out, and it sounds really good. I think dance movement it does help. Anything to do with music, meditation, when you're going through something, it does help because it basically you switch your focus instead of focusing on the problems where what you're going through, and you want to release that those intentions inside of you, whatever is going on, and it does help. I love dancing. I love doing exercises, any form of exercises. By the end of the day or beginning of the day, it does help.
Yeah.
You have to be somebody that is involved in something, doing exercises or meditation or having some form of ritual that can help you. You have to believe in something to help you hold on to that life. For me, I believe in God. He's higher than everybody else. So that keeps me going no matter what. When I'm going through challenges, I always say, you know what? You've took I'm 43 years old now. I always say you took care of me for 43 years. I know you can't let me down now, and I know he always come through. He always pull me through whatever I'm going through, and I always basically explain to people that if you don't believe in something, obviously you're gonna fall into depression. You're gonna fall because if you don't believe in something, then you're gonna want people to understand your problems. If they don't get you, they're not there to support you, then you get disappointed, and then you have depression, you have stress. But if you believe in something and you do your meditation and you do if you have music, you play your music, or if you learn something, or maybe instead of focusing on you, just go and help somebody else out, and instead of focusing on you, and just to help somebody else out, because there might be people who are going through something bigger than what you are going through, and just be grateful for life. It does help. Gratefulness helped me pull through pandemic. Just honestly being grateful of what I have, and being grateful of my breathing, and being grateful of so many things that I look at people around me, and just being grateful for those people, just having that time to be there in my environment. I think it does help as well. When it comes to problems are part of life. They come, they disappear. And then when they disappear, if you let them take over, then you'll be left with health problems. You'll be left with the unsettling feelings, like what you were saying. And problems, they basically are here to cause distractions, and they are here to cause fear as well. So you have to be aware and have that strength to actually be able to conquer the fear and conquer the problems, and have that courage to say, you know what, you problems, you are surrounding my life, and I'm just gonna keep going. And for me, basically, I I basically look at myself, the problems where I've been, and when other problems come, I'm like, you know what, that's another one. I'm not gonna ignore it. That one, I promise you, I'm not gonna ignore it, and it's not gonna cause fear. Before, I'll be worried about things, I'll be worried about that, I'll be worried about that. But now I don't worry about problems. I understand that problems comes with the beauty, the life. If you are going to get the beautiful life, you're gonna have to go through something. If you look at anyone who is a billionaire, anyone who is a millionaire, they'll tell you that I had to go through something to be where I am today. And I had to learn something by going through that, to be grateful for the life that I have, to be grateful for the people that I have. So that is part of problems. So if anyone is going through mentally health problems, you instead of relying on medication, you can actually heal yourself. And healing yourself, Dr. Bickett, you were talking about, it is a choice. Everything you do in life is a choice. It will require the work. Like you have dance classes, it will require work. It's all about the blood inside, how it's flowing, what is happening in the chemicals from the brain. You just have to know how to work with the brain and not the brain working up for you. So over to you, Dr. B. Gates.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's at the end of the day, everything in your body is connected. Your emotional state and your physical state and what have you, they're all connected. We know this by many studies nowadays, but it's with science. And so that's why when you move, when you allow music and you move on top of that and listen to expert coaching, that's when you'll be able to, like you said, allow things to flow differently, and everything is connected. So that's why if you are human are meant to be social. That's why sometimes when you are feeling blues, just try this. Try say you're feeling blues. Try to write down and send whomever that's matter to you. Perhaps it's your friend, your significant other, your family, your parents, whatever, whomever. Write down two or three people that you can compliment. You feeling crummy, you're feeling blue, you're feeling grumpy, whatever that's going on in your life, and you want to shift your mood. Write down, text them, message them, email them, two or three people that something you appreciate about them. Perhaps they've done something in the past for you. What is it that you appreciate about them? What is it that you can compliment? So you write down an appreciation or a compliment, and then after that, two or three people. Let's see what's going on with your mood. You cannot be appreciative or grateful, like you said, or complimenting and be grumpy at the same time. So when you're doing good for other people, whatever that you're doing good for other people, it's actually benefit for yourself as well. Before I forgot, talking about doing good, the I mentioned that the International Childhood can for the Dance Away Sadness, it's based on the donations. The donations actually 100% of it, 100% of the donations will go to the to benefit the International Childhood Cancer Charity, and that is for to help empower, in addition to emotionally and physically heal impoverished children with cancer globally. I mean, even before the pandemic, they're already having a hard time if you're living in poverty, and now it is even more. So you will be doing good for yourself, and you'll be doing good for the kids in the world who are being affected with cancer, in addition to not having money or not having the economy resource already. But it's very important to really do something that allow you to feel that you are contributing. We all come here to this world, everybody, not just people. Actually, if you look around, like tree has a purpose. They come from a seed, and then they grow and they grow and they grow, and then they become fruit tree or become flower tree or something like that. We're all meant to give something. It's life come to us and say, hey, we'll give you life, and we are meant to give back to life, not just take it and go freebie, so to say. And that's why when people are able to do something, and whether it is doing the work you want, whether it is, if you are allowed to, depend on where you are, opening door for somebody nowadays, helping them with their grocery, simply just giving a friendly nod to serve you. Wearing mask, people can see your smile, that is what they say, but you can smile with your eyes, and you can give a friendly nod to strangers, or the grocery clerk or somebody that help you, or nearby you at the gas station or something, or the train. And you will, when you just do that, that alone will help you feel better. And then, it's a step by step. You say, Numsa, now you are able to have things going on in your life, and you not being overwhelmed and drowned by it. But that's happened because you study this. You didn't just sit there and keep watching TV and lots of bad news and do nothing. You allow help, you allow support back in the day, to the point that you're able to stay afloat and navigate things on your own. And so, if you, the audience listening, and you still feel being affected by things that the pandemic is causing you to lose your ease and peace, and perhaps even your income, then you might just want to allow help, which is all like you Numsta says here. Everybody who are highly successful allow help, went through things and allow help. Nobody become an Olympic athlete without having coaches.
True, you actually have to. Life is a choice. You have to, like when you're saying no one become an athlete, they all have to have coaches. You all have to have someone that basically that is a champion in your life. I basically, when I was young, I think my granddad he started teaching me music when I was young. At the age of 9, my bedtime was 1 a.m. and then having to go to school in the morning. And I knew basically what I wanted at the time. I knew what I wanted, and I knew because I would just have dinner. After dinner, I would just go and practice. And practicing, I was basically one of the youngest, and some people were older than me, but because I loved it so much, and I was like, I don't know what my family thought of that. They never stopped me, actually. Maybe it's because I loved it. So yeah, I used to go to bed at 1 a.m. and then having sometimes midnight, and having to go to school in the morning, or sometimes we do the training over the weekend. But the training, when we were doing the training, he was my coach. He was not my grandfather when we were doing the training. We were not related. We were related after 2 hours later. That's when our relationship comes back. But when it comes to training, that relationship, it became like he's my coach. I don't see him as my granddad. When he says this, the voice goes like this. I just have to do it. And when he tells me off, and I have to treat him as a coach. That was basically the agreement, that if you want to get to where you need to go, you're gonna have to do this. So that's what happens with mental health problems. If you want to avoid it, for me, I had to do the work. And when I was divorcing, that's when I didn't know what mental health was. I grew up in Africa, happy with my family. Everyone, when I have problems, I ring my family and they'll sort it out. And with the problems with the boyfriend and stuff, and then that's when I started getting stressed, understanding what mental health problems is. But because I didn't have the knowledge that I can actually heal myself, I can actually work on myself. I have a choice to actually, instead of going to medication, and I have a choice of basically doing exercises and praying to God, and actually doing the things that I love. And I had to learn it the hard way when I was going through a marriage. I'm glad that my GP never suggested the easy way out. And because I remember walking in and it was like, Nomsa, what's the problem? I was like, I don't know. Something is wrong in my head. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, I don't know. It's changed. The feeling I cannot describe. And I was, what happened in your life? What is changed? I was like, marriage. And I was like, oh, I understand. Sit down. I was like sitting down and the counseling. And after the counseling, when I was talking to people, I realized actually it is better when you're talking to people. And that's when I finish, I go into personal development. But when you go into personal development, you don't just do it for the sake of enjoying it. You have to keep that habit going. You have to basically you have to have a reason. For me, the reason was I didn't want to go back to that feeling. I was like, this is the choice that I have. I don't want to go back. I don't want to feel that feeling, and I don't like taking medication anyway. So I healed myself. I've learned how to heal myself. I've learned how to I've learned how to do deliveries. Some people have to go to pastor to get deliveries. I had to teach myself how to do deliveries at home. So it's actually at the beginning when you're doing it, people might think you're bonkers. So in the house, they used to call me bonkers, but now they see that I'm the happiest person in the house because I do work on myself. I basically when I'm sad with something, I have to talk myself out of it. I don't have to wait for somebody to go for coffee and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm got." No, I have to talk to myself, and I have to tell myself off. If this is what I'm feeling, I'm like, no, this cannot be happening. This is how. This is the feeling. I have to be aware, not ignoring it, bring myself to the awareness of what is going on and just meditate and asking God to take my hand and hold on. Like I say, God, I quote the scriptures because there are scriptures that He wrote the Bible. The Bible was written, so I quote the scriptures, and sometimes I feel better straight away, or I get a solution to basically on where to go if the path is not straight.
Yeah.
So you just have to learn to pave the path where you're going and not giving up. Because if you give up, that means that is not important. Find a good reason why you need to stay healthy. I don't know how you keep your health. For me, Dr. Biggett, I eat health and I do exercises. And it's like the whole day now I've noticed I go running, jogging every single day. Monday to Friday, Saturday, I have to have a rest. But when I'm jogging now, I jog really, really fast because I'm getting rid of this stress all day. So I have to jog really fast. And I time myself, and then the following day faster than that, and just eat healthy and look after myself. There are things that we have control in life, but there are some things that we actually don't. You can look at them and say, oh, wow, it's one of those days. Over to you, Dr. Bigot.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that truly you don't truly have control of anything in life. If you look around, you don't truly 100% have control anything in life except one, which is what you're thinking and what you're doing about it. And I used to be a control, what they call here, a control freak. I want to control everything outside myself. But my path, I used to just, like you said, worry about this and freak out about that, and something happened, and I would get upset, and you name it. It was being around me is almost kind of being around tropical storm, quite unpredictable. Hello. Um, and then one of my many coaches says, "Listen, Bridget, look at this. There is nothing you are really truly able to control. So if you want to be able to control things, practice. Let's start with one thing that you can practice and for sure you are able to control, which is your thought. And from your thought, it will turns into your action. And so that's really the only thing that you are able to control in your life is your thought. What do you see the outcome? What is the outcome that you would love? Think about we never know. You hear about the expressions out of the blue. Sometimes you just things happen in life where you encounter something, and out of the blue you just hear this program on Facebook or YouTube, and then out of the blue you just encounter this and that. And so what is the outcome that you would love to see from your current situations, whether it is you are having a conflict at home because of what we talked today about the pandemic causing everybody to behave abnormally, or perhaps it's your health, your financial. What is the outcome that you would love? And then talking about control, you can learn to practice to focus your mind on it. And just like Numsa says, and I say it, and Jim Carrey, the award with the American award-winning actor, says, you cannot desire something and then go sit on the sofa, eat a sandwich, and do nothing else. You will not change thing if you don't change. So if you truly want to be able to change, if you want to control, then you got to control your actions and allow help. And whether if you feel you can benefit from having more ease and more peace of mind, or even just more fun or doing some good, check out Dance Away Sadness on Saturday, or reach out to us and ask us for help. If you never do anything about your situation or do anything solid about your situation, then it's not going to change. I mean, sometimes some people say, "Oh yeah, but I'm listening to all this thing in on, I'm listening to this on YouTube and that on Facebook and things like that." I give the analogy of, if life is a sand, so you're listening to this and listening to that, you're basically shifting sands around. Well, guess what happened? The wind blow, sun's gonna come back to the lowest spot. So let's say you feel low right now and you're listening to this and listening to that. You're shifting the sand around from the hole that you are out, but you're shifting sand. And the wind blow, the wind of life, the wind of changes, blow, it's just gonna get the sand right back in where it was, where you are, making you feel like you are deep in the dumpster. You need to not only be able to shift the sand around, but put something solid in there for you to protect you, to help you, kind of like create a container for you to be able to say, okay, now I've done that. Now I can stay here and continue being at peace and actually create from that place for an outcome that you would want. So I would just invite the audience as a closing to this to just say, okay, things has changed and things will continue to change. What is the outcome that you would love? And if you are not there yet, then do you know 100% how to get there and have the 100% discipline to let yourself get to where you want to be? And if not, then perhaps you might want to reach out to us and allow us to support you, or at least check out and have a little bit of fun and more peace of mind and do a little good this weekend on that Dance Away Sadness.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot, and thank you so much to everyone that has been watching. Like Dr. Bigot said, check Ngozi Talk Show out and check the speakers out. You never know what happens when you connect with one of the speakers. And we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. So please join us and join our conversation and feel free to comment. And God bless you, everyone. Live with grace and look after your health.
Bye-bye.